Good morning. Today we are going to cover section 2.1. So you should have with you your cutouts. We're going to be using two cutouts today, and you should also have your tab for chapter 2. So let's take the time, and what you want to do with your tab is to color it first. I'm just going to use my highlighter, makes it a bit easier. And I'm just going to use a piece of paper so I can, when I highlight it, it doesn't go through my notebook, and I can go off the line since I'm going to cut it afterwards. That makes it a little bit easier. So let's go through and highlight it. You can if you have crayons, you can do crayons as well. You can just color it any color you prefer. In this case, I'm just going to do orange since the last one I did was yellow. I'm going to do this one in orange. And I'm just going to use my scissors to be able to cut them. If I can find my scissors somewhere here. Right over here. So therefore, just going to cut it carefully through the lines, and now it's going to look perfectly colored. So that makes it easier. And now, if you have glue stick, or you can also tape it if you don't have glue stick. I prefer glue stick, and then I'm gonna actually place tape right on top, so that way it makes it much nicer. And I'm going to place it through. My first one was around. My first tab was here, so therefore I'm just going to place it right over here, so that way they're staggered. So then I'm going to get my glue stick. My glue stick I prefer to just do on my hand, so that way I don't get my paper full of glue. Just make sure that you only have one page. First one is here, the second one will be right over here. And then if you have tape, I prefer to also use tape because that way it won't come out. And notice that I place it all the way inside. I will place two pieces of tape. One, two. Otherwise, glue is just fine. Excellent. So let's get started. You should also have a ruler. So we are going to draw our sixth line. So let's go our left margin. So I'm going to do 2, 4, 6. And I'll make a line all the way through. And I'm going to write down my title. My title is 2.1 Solving Inequalities. And now I'm going to place my first cutout. So let me go and place my cutout all the way through. Let me make myself a little smaller, right? There we go, much better. So let's go and place our cutout. We are going to use two of them today. And I'm just going to glue it here. Once again, I'm going to glue, make sure that you get your corners all the way through. Very important, otherwise it's going to start to peel off. If by any chance you have glue stick, you can use tape, but for this I do prefer for you guys to be using glue stick. And now place our center nice and neat. That's perfect. And if by any chance you did not get a corner, sometimes I have to go back and glue the corners once again. Perfect. So let's get started. Are you ready? Otherwise, go and pause it, and we'll continue once you're ready. So an inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares expressions. Remember, an expression is something that does not have an equal sign. So an equation has an equal sign, and an inequality has one of those symbols: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. To write an inequality, look for the following phrases to determine what inequality symbol to use. So if by any chance they say less than, you're going to be using this symbol. This symbol is read as greater than. Then if it has an equal sign underneath, it's read as less than or equal to. This is greater than or equal to because it has a line underneath, which means an equal sign. So we're going to say it has an equal sign underneath. And when we graph it, we're going to graph it either as an open circle or as a closed circle. And you have to just decide if it has an equal sign, then it's going to be closed to indicate that that point is also part of the solution. And if there's no equal sign, we are going to leave it as open to indicate that that value, that point, is not part of the solution, and that's why we leave it as open. So let's go through example number 1. On example number 1, we're just going to graph. And graph. We're going to do letter A, which is x is greater than -2, and letter B, which is y is less than or equal to 1. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you remember is how to read it. X is greater than, notice that the little open is towards the x, so therefore x is greater than the -2. And on the second one, it's y is less than or equal to, and that will be an equal sign to 1. Now we are going to make a number line, so let's just go and jump down 2 spaces. And I'm going to place a number line. I'm just going to make it 10 squares. So let's see, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. And actually, let me just make it 6, 12. Let's make it 12, since it fits nice and neat. So that'll be arrow and arrow, and the 0 will be in the middle. Now we can go ahead and mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 every square, but since we're using a graph paper notebook, that makes it a bit easier. So the only thing that we need to do is, and we need to remember that the positive numbers are on the right and the negative numbers are on the left. So to graph it, it's a very quick process. We are going to first locate where is -2. -2 is located to the left because those are the negative numbers. And -2 is -1, -2. Correct? Now we need to decide whether we're going to leave it as an open circle or a closed circle. What do you think? So because this is greater than, correct? That's greater than, there's no equal sign. So therefore we're going to leave it as open. We're going to leave it as open. And all the numbers that are greater than -2 are either to the right or to the left. All the numbers that are greater than -2 are to the right. So we're going to place a line to the right and an arrow. Now, one more thing that I want you guys to do, I want you guys to highlight all the values that are greater than -2. So I want you to highlight your x-axis, so -2 all the way to the right. All those values are solutions. Now notice that -2 is not a solution because -2 is not equal to, and that's why we leave it as open. Any number to the right, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until infinity, are solutions. Letter B. So for letter B, let's go and draw the line once again. We'll go and make 12 squares. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. I'm going to place my x in the middle. So in this case, not my x, but my 0 in the middle. Then I need to be able to locate where is 1. Well, let's see, that's 0, so therefore 1 should be over to the right. We know that positives are on the right, and we know that negatives are on the left. So 1 is located here. And I need to decide, is this going to be open or closed? So does it have an equal sign? So in this case, it does have an equal sign. So every time it has an equal sign, we have to leave it as closed. And now we need to decide, is it to the left or to the right? Well, all the numbers that are less than negative than 1 are to the left. So therefore, we're going to place the arrow on the left. It's actually better if you use your ruler. It's a little nice and neater. Nice and neat. And now, I want you guys to highlight that part. So let's go and highlight. And I'm going to highlight even the 1 because the 1 is also part of the solution because that is closed. There's an equal sign underneath, which means that the 1 is also part of the solution. Well, on the other part, there was no equal sign, so therefore the negative 2 was not part of the solution. Let's go and try C and D. For letter C, we have 2 is greater than M, and for letter D, we have 3 is less than or equal to P. And notice that we can use different variables, correct? So therefore, whether it's M, P, X, or Y, we're still going to graph it the same way. So let's go and graph the first one together. Let's go and place a number line. I'm going to go and skip 2 lines. And actually, let me skip one more because we're going to do something slightly different. So let's go and make 12 squares. And let's go and make 12 squares over on this side. So there's a problem that we have in here. I'm going to place my 0 in the middle. So the problem that I have on either one of them is that if we notice, in this case, the M is on the right. I want it to be on the left. Same thing that I have here. I prefer the variable to be on the left and not the variable to be on the left. On those two problems, I want the M to be on the other side. So what we're going to do, we are going to place the M on this side and the 2 on the right hand side. Then I need to think, okay, well, is the greater side towards the 2 or towards the M? And think about this as an alligator. Is the alligator eating the 2 or is it eating the M? Correct. It's eating the 2. The greater sign is towards the 2. So therefore, when I rewrite it, it needs to continue going towards the 2. So now I can graph it. First, you need to be able to identify where is the 2 located. Well, the 2 is located here. And then I need to decide, is it going to be close or open? Is there an equal sign? There's no equal sign here, so therefore it's going to be open. And all the numbers that are less than 2 are to the left. So therefore, all those numbers to the left are going to be solution. So I'll place my arrow all the way to the left. And I'm going to highlight my solutions. Now, the question is, do I need to highlight the number 2? No, because the number 2 is not part of the solution because there's no equal sign underneath. So therefore, when I highlight, I'm going to try to not to highlight the 2, but I'm going to highlight everything afterwards. So let's go and rewrite letter D together, and then I'll let you guys graph it, see what you get, and then we can compare our answers. So let's see, for this one here, I need to rewrite it because I want the P to be on this side. So let's go and place a P on this side, and my 3 will go on the other side. And then I need to think, is the 3 having the greater than, or is it P? The P, correct? So the alligator is eating the P. So therefore, when I rewrite it, it has to continue eating the P. But let me not forget my equal sign underneath. So those two expressions are equivalent. So now we can graph it. Now, some of you guys might say, well, actually, I can graph it without rewriting it. Just be careful. I prefer if you take the time to rewrite it. So let's see, 3 is located. So go ahead and graph it. See what you get. Go and pause it, graph it, and we'll compare our answers. You got it? So therefore, 1, 2, 3 is here. And I need to decide, is it going to be open or close? It's going to be close. It's going to be close because there's an equal sign underneath, which means that that is going to be part of the solution. And all the numbers that are greater than 3 are to the right or equal. So therefore, when I highlight this, do I need to highlight the 3? I do, because the 3 is also part of the solution. So I'm going to highlight the 3, and then all the numbers to the right are the solution. So graphing is a very quick process, something that you have seen before. And now let's go and make a line all the way through. Actually, we have a different cutout, so we don't need to place the line. So when we have another cutout, we are just going to glue it, and the cutout is going to help us separate one side from the other, so no line needed. So let's go and place glue all the way through. Make sure you get the corners. Make sure you do not do it on your paper because it's going to get stuck. And I'm going to tell you, I told you so. So let's go and glue all the way through. I'll make sure I get the middle too, each of the corners. Do it once, do it twice, and we are set. Make sure you put this in nice and lined up horizontally. Almost perfect. That's not too perfect. So now example number 2. So in example number 2, we are now going to solve. So we have example number 2, solve and graph. So now we are going to solve and we're going to graph. And we're going to do example A and B. So for example A, we have negative 3a minus 2 is less than negative 8. And for example B will be negative 1 is greater than or equal to x plus 3. And now we just need to solve it. And we're going to solve it in the same manner that we've done it before. But before we used to have an equal sign, but now we have an inequality. That's the only difference. So let's go through and solve it. So what should be my first step? Right. The first step should be to draw the line. And now our whole purpose is to be able to leave the a by itself. So therefore I need to get rid of the negative 3 or the negative 2. Which one should I get rid of? So I'm going to get rid of the negative 3. Let's just switch things around. And there. That makes it a bit easier for you. So now I'm going to go and solve it. So what should I do first? I should get rid of the negative 2 or the negative 3. Correct. I should get rid of the negative 2. So I'll move my negative 2 to the right, becomes a positive 2. And now I have negative, let me draw the line, of negative 3a is less than negative 6. Remember, different signs, you have to subtract and you have to keep the sign of the larger number. And what will be the last step? Will be to divide by negative 3. And that will take us to our cutoff. Now, when multiplying or dividing each side of an inequality by the same negative number, so every time you multiply or you divide by a negative number, the direction of the inequality symbol must be reversed. So the inequality must be reversed. So if you can underline that in red, that'll be essential. This is going to be essential. So every time you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality. So in this case, it was less than, we're going to make it into a greater than. And now we can solve. So the 3 cancels, the negative cancels, we have a is greater than negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. This is your answer. So notice that it's the same process. The only difference is that sometimes we're going to end up with, we have to flip the inequality whenever we multiply or whenever we divide by a negative number. And now we can graph it. So take the time to graph it, see what you get. I'm going to make a number line. 12 squares is fine. 2, 4, 6. Arrows on both sides. Make sure that you have the 0 in the middle and 2 to the right. Open or close? It's going to be open since there's no equal sign, and all the numbers that are greater than 2 are to the right. Let me use my ruler. All the numbers to the right. And I'm going to highlight all of my solutions. So that means that all the solutions are all the numbers to the right, which is not 2, but 3, 4, and beyond. Even 2.1 is a solution, 2.2, but 2 is not because there's no equal sign. Let's try letter B. So for letter B, what should be my first step? Correct, to draw the line. So let's go and draw the line. And I need to be able to leave the x by itself. That means I need to get rid of the 3. That's the only one that we have on this side. So I'm going to go and circle it. And I'm going to move it to this side. Is a positive. When I move it to this side, we can say negative 3. So therefore, I have x. Notice that I don't need to reverse the inequality because I subtracted 3 on both sides. Only whenever you divide or whenever you multiply by a negative number. So therefore, I have negative 4. And now the x is by itself. Now, but in order to graph it, or most of the time, we prefer to have my x on this side. So I'm going to rewrite my x on this side, my negative 4 on the other side, so I can graph it. So let's see, x, negative 4. Is the alligator eating the negative 4 or the x? It's eating the negative 4, so therefore it needs to continue in the negative 4. And now I can do my number line. So now let me go ahead and go through my number line. Let me place it a little lower. So just about 12 squares will be perfect. My 0 in the middle. I have negative 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4 is located here. And I need to decide, open or close? Oh, it's supposed to be closed, but then Diaz forgot the equal sign, so just be careful. This is supposed to be closed. So I notice, I say, oh man, there's an equal sign in there. So I'm going to place it as close. That means that negative 4 is also part of the solution, so we're going to highlight negative 4. And to the left or to the right? All the numbers that are less than negative 4 are to the left. And I'm going to highlight my solutions. So therefore, negative 4 is also part of my solution, so therefore I'm going to highlight it since there's an equal sign in there. And all the numbers that are less than negative 4 are to the left. Easy as that. So notice that it's very similar concepts that we learned in the last chapter. The only difference that now we have inequalities instead of an equal sign. So let's go through example number 3. So in example number 3, the first thing I'm going to do is to draw the line. So let's go and take the time to draw the line. Let me make myself a little more space. I need 6 squares. So 2, 4, 6, I'm actually going to give myself 7. So on this side, I'm going to give myself 7 squares. And now we are going to work on example number 3. So write down example number 3 on the left, and we are going to solve and graph A and B. A. We have 8 minus 5b is less than or equal to negative 2. And we have b. Negative 3 is greater than negative 4y minus 1. And now we can solve it. We're going to solve it the same manner that we've been doing all this time. So what should be my first step? My first step should be to draw the line. And now I need to be able to leave the b by itself. That means I need to get rid of the 8 and the -5. So which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I should get rid of the 8 first. It's adding, there's a plus in here, but we don't write down. So therefore you can do -8 on both sides. So I'm just going to move it to the right. We can't say -8. Or if you want, you can do -8 and -8. Both of them will give you the same answer. So therefore the -5 and the b comes down. My less than or equal to comes down, and we have a -10. I still need one more step. I need to divide by -5. The -5 and the b are multiplying, so therefore the inverse, the opposite, is to divide by -5. Remember that you want the 5's to cancel, but you also want the negatives to cancel. That's why we need to divide by -5. And now we have b. And what happens when I divide by a negative number? I have 2. So right now it's like this. So now I have to flip my inequality. So you have to reverse it. Negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. 10 divided by 5 will be 2. So let's go and make a number line so we can graph it. Let's get rid of a little. So I have a little more space. So now I have a number line here. Arrows on both sides. I'll place my 0 at the center. And now you don't need to place all the numbers. I just need to be able to locate where is positive 2. Positive 2 is located 1, 2. Open or close is going to be closed. And all the numbers that are greater than -2 are to the right. And I do need you guys to highlight your solutions because that will give you some understanding of what numbers are solutions. Is 2 a solution? Yes. Is 3 a solution? Yes. How about 4? Yeah. All those numbers are solutions. All those numbers that are greater than 2 are solutions. So try letter B by yourselves. See what you get, and then we can compare our answers. Go and pause it. Let's see. I'm going to draw the line. What should be my next step? My next step should be to, correct. I need to leave the y by itself. I need to get rid of the -1 or the -4. So I'm going to move my -1 to the left. You can say +1. That gives me different signs. Subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, -2. And now I can divide by -4. Divide by -4, divide by -4. And when I divide by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality. So reverse it. That's a greater than, so it's going to become a less than. The y comes down. 4's cancel, negatives cancel. Oh, I said I was going to reverse and I forgot. So let me go and reverse. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes we know that we need to reverse it, but when we write it down, we kind of forget. So usually that is the first thing that I do. That way I have time to correct myself. And what is negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. And is 2 or 4 an improper fraction? Yes or no? No. But we can reduce it by 2. So divide by 2 gives me 1. Divide by 2 gives me 2. So therefore be 1/2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And now I can graph it. But before I graph it, I know that I should switch it. My y should be on the left and my 1/2 should be on the right. And now, is the alligator eating the y or eating the 1/2? The alligator is eating the y. So therefore, he has to continue eating the y. And when I graph it, I'm going to make a quick graph. I'll place my center will be my 0. 1/2 will be here. Halfway through, probably a little further to the left. Greater than, open or close? Open, and to the right because it's greater than. So therefore, is 1/2 part of the solution? No. Anything to the right, 1 is the solution, but not 1/2. And one last example, example number 4, A, B, C, and D. So we're almost done. So let's go and place a line all the way through to separate example 3 from example number 4. On example number 4, we're just going to solve. We're not going to graph it. On some of your homework problems, you have to graph it, so you have to make sure that you show me a nice, neat graph. And I also want to make sure that you guys highlight your solutions, because that will tell me that you understand it. A and B. We have 4x plus 6 minus 3x is greater than negative 5 plus 1. And B, we have 3 is greater than 3y minus 2y plus 7. Go and copy it down, see what you get. Well, we'll work out together. But go and copy it down, pause it if you need more time. Are you ready? So what should be my first step? My first step should be to draw the line, correct? Sometimes my red pen doesn't want to work too well. There we go. So therefore, what should be my next step? Now I notice I have 2 x's on the left. So what is that? That is to circle them. We are going to combine like terms. So therefore I have 4x minus 3x will give me 1x or just x. So if you want, you can write down 1x. Most of the time I prefer to just write down x. The 6 comes down. And I also have like terms on the right hand side. So negative 5 plus 1 will give me a negative 4. So I can just combine them. And now one more step. I have the x and the 6. I need to leave the x by itself, so I need to get rid of the 6. So therefore I'm going to move it to the right, becomes a negative 6. So now I have x is greater than. Do I need to reverse my inequality? No, I don't need to flip it because I subtracted 6. Only when you multiply or divide by a negative number. So therefore that gives me negative 2. So the same process as we've done before, but now we're just solving inequalities instead of solving an equation. And the only thing you have to remember is that whenever you divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality. You also need to be able to remember how to graph. Let's try letter C together. Let's go and draw the line. So what should be my next step? Correct. Combine like terms. I can combine the y's on the right hand side. So therefore I can circle them. I have 3y and negative 2y becomes a 1y. Now if you want, you can actually write down 1y, but most of the time we prefer to just write down y plus 7 comes down greater than 3. So 3 greater than y plus 7. And then one more step to leave the y by itself. Go through it, solve it, see what you get, and then you might have to rewrite it, correct? Got it? Go and pause it if you need more time. Move my 7 to the left, becomes a negative 7. So therefore, I have a negative 4 is greater than y. And the y is by itself, so therefore, I'm done. I do need to take the time to rewrite it because my y is on this side. I want to be able to have my y on the left. So my y will be on the left. My negative 4 will be on the right. And I need to think, is the alligator in the negative 4 or is it in the y? The alligator is in the negative 4, so therefore it needs to continue in the negative 4. So when you rewrite it, you want to be able to think about that process. C and D. So for C, we have 5 is less than or equal to 5 plus 5x minus 6x. And D will be negative 7 greater than 4x minus 4 plus 1. So let's go through a process of solving letter C. What should be my first step? Correct. I need to draw the line. Go ahead and solve it, see what you get, and then we can compare our answers. Got it? Go and pause it. Correct. So in this case, let's go through a process. The first step is to combine like terms, because I have two x's on the left-hand side. I can combine them. So therefore, my 5 comes down, my less than or equal to, my 5 comes down, and 5x minus 6x will give me negative 1x. I can write down negative x or negative 1x, whichever you prefer. And now, I need to be able to leave that x by itself. So I need to get rid of the 5 and the negative 1. Which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I need to get rid of the 5. So I'll bring my 5 over to the left. We can say negative 5. And 5 minus 5 will be 0. So I have 0. And the last step is to divide by negative 1. And when I divide by negative number, I have to reverse it. So now it was less than, it becomes greater than or equal to. So my 1 cancels, my negative cancels. And notice that is the first thing that I do. Before I rewrite anything down, I reverse the inequality or flip it. So that gives me x. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. This answer is correct, but I prefer if you actually rewrite it. My x should be on the left, my 0. Is the alligator eating the 0 or the x? It's in the 0, so therefore it has to continue in the 0. Try the last one. See what you get. And then if you get it correct, we are done. If not, we can do a few more examples. Pause it. So we're going to draw the line. I'm going to combine like terms, and I'm going to combine the negative 4 and the 1. So let's go through the process. Let's go and combine those two. The negative 4 and the 1, I'm going to go and circle them. Negative 4 plus 1 will give me negative 3. Different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, which is the 4. Now, which one should I get rid of first, the 4 or the negative 3? Correct. The negative 3, I'm going to move it to the left. You can say positive 3. So therefore, I have negative 4 is greater than 4x. And the last step will be to divide by 4. So therefore, I'm going to divide by 4, and I'm going to divide by 4. My 4's cancel. So therefore, x is greater than negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So am I supposed to flip the inequality? No, because I divided by positive 4. It doesn't matter whether my answer is negative or positive. What matters is whenever I divide or multiply by a negative number. In this case, I divide by positive 4, so that's it. But I do need to be able to flip it the same way that I did this. So therefore, my x should be on this side. My negative 1 should be on the other side. And is my alligator in the negative 1 or the x? It's eating the negative 1, right? So therefore, it needs to continue eating the negative 1. So that is our lesson for today. Email me if you have any questions. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.